promotion of outcome-based education in engineering institutions through awareness programs and evaluators training programs as a resource person for National Board of Accreditation in India. Welcome, Professor Arvind Ranganath. You may please start now. Participants are very keen to learn from you. Thank you so much for coming for the FDP.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, very much. We can hear you.
Yes.
Yes.
Right. I'm just trying to switch on my. Is the screen, is the screen visible to all the participants now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Right. So what we are going to do for next 60-70 minutes is we'll run through the changes in the self-assessment report. Now, one of the things I have avoided in this particular presentation is how the POs have evolved, and now they have been limited to from 12 to 11. But otherwise, rest of the things, if somebody has already participated in the this kind of earlier part of your accreditation process, you will know most of the things basically. Okay, so through this we'll start the session. Welcome. I will be looking at self-assessment report in its present form. Okay. Change. Now, as you understand, self-assessment report is a first kind of an information which every institution would like to provide, and it kind of gives preparedness for the institutions or departments as they prepare. It has to be a crisp status of the accreditation process or the outcome-based education, what you have practiced over a period of time, but at the same time give enough evidences for the evaluators when they come to look at it. That is something which you have to look at it basically. Okay. Okay. As you see, there are 9 criteria as compared to earlier 10 criteria. Now, 1 criteria has been reduced. The first year criteria has been removed because it was not giving a comprehensive view. The committee took in the recent revision that that can be merged along with the departments. Whatever activity happens in the first year is merged along with the program from now onwards. And these are some of the information which you are likely to fill up: which university you come from, what type of institution you are, whether central government, state government, what kind of society. And then this kind of an information you are going to fill up because it gives a detailed program of the institution. When did you start a program and when increase happened or decrease in your increase in intake happened. These are information for the NBA to look at broadly. So that you get that information. Then precisely what department you are applying for accreditation, and then please look at table ABA 8.2, which is a new one which we have introduced, wherein the allied department or a cluster department concept has been brought in now. Idea is now with the liberal view of the AICT, depending upon the nation's requirement, have opened up many sub-branches, let us say in computer science or circuit branches. Accreditation process becomes very difficult when people are working in different, etc. So NBA would like to look at it as a collective effort from the institution point of view. So for a computer science of engineering, let us say information science engineering, or AI, ML, or your business analytics, all of them become allied programs now on, and they will be looking at holistically at some point of time. So moving on, an example is given in the self-assessment report. You can have a look at it whenever you have a time. Let us say you may be looking at departments as computer science, electronics, mechanical, etc. on the top table. But on the bottom table, as you clearly see, computer science can have 3 more allied departments, namely information technology, computer science and engineering, and electronics and communication. For electronics communication, it could be E&T, telecommunication, or communication engineering, and so on and so forth. So this is just to give an idea. And then one more information about all the faculty members who work in those allied departments can come here, gives a comprehensive view for NBA to look at in the beginning. And then, of course, the institution vision, mission, and the contact person, etc., forms the first part of the self-assessment report. It is only an information type of a thing. Nothing is evaluated in that information. Just like we ask institutions to prepare, and then after 3 years or 5 years, 6 years as the accreditation, maybe we come and evolve. NBA also has to be meeting the international requirement at Washington Accord require. They also have to go through a cycle called continuous improvement. So they have to say what they want to do and then do, prove it and improve it. And now this is a cycle which you also follow. Now, in OBE, outcome-based education, this cycle is very, very important. Once you understand as a program coordinators or in your group, this becomes very important. There are, say, parts which are your definitions, be it program educational objectives or course outcomes. Program outcomes NBA gives. These are the engineering targets, basically. Then what you do and what evidences you collect becomes important. That is the process for your criteria 2, 3, and 4, and so on. And then how do you improve it? There is a separate section called continuous improvement section. That's how the whole OB is captured, and then that's how the accreditation criteria have emerged over a period of time. In any outcome-based education, there are 3 pillars which we identify. And this time, outcome-based education in India has been modeled on 3 important pillars, namely the curriculum. How do you design an OB curriculum so that you deliver it in terms of your teaching learning process, how effectively you do using your pedagogical methods, etc. And then how do you evaluate them as an evidence? And that union of that forms your continuous improvement. Now, as you see, there is one more change in this time. The concept of equal division for the criteria has been introduced, as you can see. Earlier, there used to be a criteria with 200 marks, and then some criteria only 80 marks, or some criteria only 50 marks. Now, NBA has taken a conscious decision that it should be almost to the extent possible equivalent. So first 6 criteria, which becomes very important for you, have all got 120, kind of a 100 to 120. Only the continuous improvement has been reduced. So that this particular thing you will make a note. One more addition is that look at the table here. India is moving forward. Earlier, when we got Washington Accord, inclusion, we said tier 1, where who can design their programs is called tier 1 curriculum, and then have academic autonomy. But now slowly the tier 2, some very good institutions in India are also making significant process in order to facilitate over a period of time. The criteria have been kept constant. The marks have been kept constant. Only internally, when you go really inside the criteria, you see some minor changes like that. Let us say 1.1.13. Some tier 1 may be having 10 and probably tier 2 having 7. The definition of a vision, mission, PO process, etc. So this one significant change is also happened. That brings us to the today's discussion, your program level criteria, which becomes very important for every program. Okay, can you hear me? Are you with me?
Yes, sir. Very much audible, sir.
Yeah, right. So in between, just to make sure that I'm audible, I will be asking this question. Please, someone will have to acknowledge this. So moving on. just not. Okay. So these, the vision mission is not much of a change as for the earlier thing. So we all understand that vision are the broad statement where you would like to be, and mission are the action verbs. Every institution, whether it is, central government, state government, or a private, should define why they exist. So they have been kept very much intact. So the statements as you prepare have been captured here. You need to also state the educational objectives, which you also understand that these are the promises we make to the stakeholders, what they would like to be, the graduates would like to be after 3 to 5 years. Okay, so they have been kept constant. I'm sure many of you who have already gone through one cycle have got your vision mission written, or somebody who has not yet going for the first time. For those, vision is a futuristic statement. You would like to write it as a where you would like to be. So no action verb should be there in the vision statement. To the extent possible, you should avoid it. Mission should be the actual action what you would like to take. In one of the example I've said here, vision to emerge as one of the nation's finest institution is all fine, but then sustained monitoring. Monitoring is something we do, which is action verb. So probably vision is written like a mission here, and mission is written like a vision. You will do better to say that vision as a futuristic statement like what we have shown here, and then mission is what you would like to do. Let us say accomplish stimulating environment, what you do. Why? For quality education, research, outreach, etc. I give this example to make very emphatic distinction between vision and mission. Please don't laugh if I say that I would like to be the next prime minister after Modi ji of this country. Now that's a tall order. You should not laugh because that can be my vision. I mean, vision can be anything. Anybody can have a vision. Any institution can have a very good vision. That doesn't matter. But you can ask, what do you do to become that, occupy that position in the next 3-4 years when it is vacant? If I say that I joined this, that, so action verb. So your mission statements and what you actually do as a mission will be looked by the evaluators very carefully. So what you write as a mission, you have to be very careful. That's a point I would like to draw. Okay. So similarly, department vision mission have to be drawn from the same thread as of vision mission of the institution. Simply because institution is a bigger umbrella and departments are within that the institution, and hence they cannot be bigger than the institution normally, except let's say John Hopkins Medical Institution is probably more famous than the university itself, John Hopkins. In such cases, they can have a different vision mission, but otherwise it will be drawn in a very similar thread, but allied to a particular department. Let us say in this case, for civil engineering department, I show. Okay, so like that, it goes on. Moving on, these statements again you have to make program educational objective. This is the only place where we use word called objective. They are not outcomes. These are the promises we make to the students, what they would become after 3 to 5 years, and they have to be written very carefully with the enough of information available, and there could be about 4 or 3, not more than 4 is conducive because it will be very difficult to monitor them. One, definitely to promise an employment, and second to higher education, because in India, a lot of people go for higher education. They don't stop at skill or only a knowledge level. And then, of course, they have to be a good engineer with lot of attributes like professional behavior and leadership skills and team person and with all that. So, and then concern to society and environment, something like that, but need not be written in the same way. But only thing is you have to do, graduates after 3 to 4 years of their practice will be able to, not when they cross over your portal. These are one promise after 2 to 3 years of their work, what they are likely to become apart from our knowledge and few more experience there. So after that, they are the objectives. So they will be competing in the global environment. They will pursue. These are the kind of action verbs one can use. Higher education, communicate effectively after 3 to 4 years. and demonstrate after 3 to 4 years, demonstrate concern to society. Never write what you do. We are preparing students for to be a global engineers. We are preparing for their higher education. It is not about what you prepare. What you prepare is within that 4 years. But what they are likely to become with some more exposure to professional, with all the attributes which you have already given, what they are likely to become, your program educational objectives should reflect on that. And then comes the process of your defining vision mission. There has to be a process, so it has to be a bottoms-up approach. Contact all stakeholders. So enough of evidence has to be created. All those email IDs which you would have done to people invited, and take few photographs. So prepare a good documentation of your process. So on the left-hand side, I've shown a flow diagram. Whom are all you are likely to contact. On the right hand side, let us say faculty, student, and other people. A program coordinator who is not the head of the department but works for only accreditation, who has to compile these and then present it in your department advisory board or the board of studies, wherever, whatever kind of body you have, and vet it with through some external agencies. And once you identify them, you will reflect it on your website, basically. Okay, publish on it website. So there has to be a process for vision and POs, and can be a flow chart like that. Not necessarily what we have shown, and any different forms you can produce gives a better idea for the evaluators when they come. So dissemination of vision, mission, and PO is important. Where all you are putting, definitely, of course, now websites are visible. Anybody would like to come to your institution will first check your websites, I'm sure. And then where all you are circulating through your orientation programs or your meetings, alumni meetings and parents meetings, etc. All that you have to mention it. Dissemination. So these are something which we have retained, which was there earlier. Those items have been written. Then comes the mapping of POs with mission, because whatever mission you have kept it, educational objectives are for the program. Mission is for the department. Okay. So department mission is at a bigger umbrella, and you may have more than one program. Let us say be civil engineering, post-graduation, MTech structures or something like that. Okay. So program educational objectives will be there for every program, but mission of the department is same. So hence, what activity you do for the department in the mission level, you have to bring a correlation between the two. That is what is expected from NBA, just to understand whether you have understood or not. One example given is like that. Let us say make civil engineers, blah, blah, blah. If you put it on M1 here, and then you have to read horizontally your program educational objectives, what happens to that, basically. Okay. So, for example, graduates will have a successful career in the field of civil engineering, if you want to say, and you compare with the mission. And if that correlation is 3, you write 3 here. If it is 2, you write 2, 1, or you need not have to write any correlation also. So you have to map. Idea is whether the department people have understood what they are doing, and that evaluator would like to check, or some consultant has given you that kind of a things will be checked here. So these are the things which are looked at it with 1.1. These are also very similar what it used to be earlier. So it says, so from now onwards, some changes have been incorporated in 1.2. Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. Right. Now, curriculum structure and features for all Tier 1 institution, there is some change. Please read this carefully. You are expected to describe the process which periodically documents and demonstrate how your program has evolved and how your curriculum is designed. Now, all autonomous institutions or universities do their curriculum on their own. It could be conferences, or it could be curriculum development workshops, CBW, whatever you do. But what we are expecting now is you need to look at Washington Accord knowledge and attitude profiles carefully, and also the program outcomes what we have given, and then start integrating them in your curriculum, whether all these knowledge profiles and programs have been taken care. So this is something you have to do. Program outcomes and knowledge profiles, WKs, Washington Accord. W is stands for Washington Accord. K stands for knowledge profiles, basically. Okay. So they are provided in the self-assessment report as an annexure, which is available and printed very carefully. We'll also look at it when we go there. Okay. Right. Now, there is one more item which has been introduced, which may require some explanation, I thought. We have asked you, let us say you have designed a curriculum and you have your curriculum with various basic sciences, engineering sciences, program core, elective and open electives, and you have a different terminology, projects, integrated projects and seminars and all that. You may have it, and we would like to look at how you are doing it with respect to a standard AICT model curriculum or your university curriculum, basically. But whatever is the courses which you are designed, let us say all the courses, about 20, 25 courses which are important. Earlier, you might be doing with as LTP, lecture, tutorial, practical. Some people have also introduced self-study earlier. So we have brought back. So it could be a self-study or a teamwork or any activity-based work which you do. So please read carefully at the bottom, which is in the red. We have brought in the National Credit Framework definition for a credit. Different people follow different credit now. So this is 30 hours of notional work from the students is now considered as one credit. It's not what I do or you do in the classroom. For example, I have taken this C++. If you have about 14 weeks available in a one semester, of course, UGC and other guidelines will be there for you from your universities. It is 14 or 15 weeks or 16 weeks if you can squeeze in. If your admissions and everything happen right on June or July, some of those institutions maintain that. If possible, something which generally people may get definitely with all the problems is 14 weeks. That's why we have taken 14. Otherwise, there is no other reason. Otherwise, you can put it for 15. Let us say there is one tutorial. So 14 weeks is 14. And then if this is a 3 credit course, that will be about 42 hours. And then there is also a practical of 2 hours for 14 hours. That's about 28. If you add all of them, you will get some number. Okay. But 30 hours of notional hours is 1 credit. So if it is a 4 credit course, 2 plus 1 plus 1, 4 credit. 30 hours is what students have to work. So 120 by 4 is about 4 credit, let us say. So 120 hours of notional work has to happen, including you, whether they're learning in the class, whether they're learning in the tutorial, whether they're learning in the laboratory. So balance is about 36 hours. Now, how you, what kind of assignments or a teamwork or activity-based learning, collaborative learning you are given, project-based learning you are given, you have to now identify those activities. Earlier, they could have been on a milder version. Now, you need to monitor them, you need to evaluate them through proper rubrics and then bring them into the portfolio. Because what you do in a test, etc., your midterm test or end exam test, all that will be there as a direct assessment for you. This also will be included. That's why we have included this. Even though you are doing LTP, you have to convert this table accordingly and fill up this when you are filling up your SAR. Okay. Now the components of curriculum, this is a bit straightforward. You will fill up all this data very easily, basic science, program core, program elective, all that. I don't see any problem here. For Tier 2 institution, if somebody is also there with affiliated institutions, slightly different from the Tier 1. What NBA wants is only to describe the process periodically, what your university gives as a curriculum, and then check it for the knowledge profiles and electives. And then do it like what we used to do earlier. Okay. Okay. Now, there is one more item which has come in the criteria 1 only, which expect you to introduce whatever educational reforms, be it NEP or your state education policies, whatever you do in your universities, that has to be briefly described. Idea is to look at how futuristic you are and how you are planning for your activities in the future. That's why this criteria, sub-criteria 1.2.4 has been introduced. Then, of course, your PO, PSO, and mapping of courses. This is also something which was there earlier, but some improvements have been suggested here, for example. Moving on. POs now have been evolved over a period of time because Washington Accord, India is a member of the Washington Accord. Of the total 25 now, we are one of them. We have a second cycle running now. Washington Accord will also come through international engineering alliances, meet once in a year to discuss what are the changes globally and how our engineering profiles have to be changed globally. And once they agree on certain changes at that level, and that will be communicated to all member countries, including India. It could be Ireland, it could be UK, US, Australia, name all those 20 and odd countries, full-time member, and then few provisional members. So they will suggest us. So based on that, we also have to take a review once in 5 years. And India is embarked on that, and a lot of work has happened for last 1 year under the chairmanship of Professor Muthukrishnan. The committee has sat and looked at it. One of the things about this is we also have to see how much India can do. Not necessarily we have to compare with US or Australia. So we can retain our own local flavor, national flavor. Looking at that, it has been done. And then when you're looking at PO1 to PO4, 5, somebody is already used to it. There won't be much of a change there, but look at PO6. PO6 is the engineer and the world. Earlier, your PO6 was engineer and society, and the 7-1 was environment and sustainability. Now, they have been combined together, and one more new PO has been remodified or recalibrated, we say. What it tells you very clearly is what our engineering graduates, while solving complex engineering problem, like whether you take it PO2 or PO3, whether you're designing your problem in your discipline or you are conducting investigation in your discipline, be it electronics, electrical, or computer science, mechanical, when you are giving a complex engineering problem. We'll come to that little later. What is complex engineering problem? While solving this problem, students have to analyze and evaluate societal and environmental aspects also, be it safety or a legal framework or environment, within the framework of the Sustainable Development Goals, SDG. This is something new. And in these POs, when I'm projecting, you also start looking carefully. POs also have been, there is WK1 to WK4, WK5, you see WK2 or WK6, somewhere within the bracket has been mentioned clearly, where knowledge profiles have been mentioned here. That is something we have got it forward. Earlier, they were also there. NBA did not bring it forward, but now we are telling the institutions to prepare, look at your knowledge profiles and also look at the POs and then start working on your courses and then attaining them for the global attributes. So this is something which is one of the changes carefully and make a note of it. So likewise, PO7 is ethics, PO8 is individual and collaborative work. They are all similar. We were there, communication, project management, and lifelong. There can be 2 to 3 program specific outcome, which was also there. So now please make a note, there are no 12 POs. There are only 11 POs now for you. So starting from 2024 August for all tier 1 institution, whoever started practicing outcome-based education have to go back to their board through the board of studies through your assessment committee, adopt instead of PO12, PO11. So all evaluations which you do beyond 2024 August or maybe 25 January, if you are late for 6 months, 25 January onwards, your mapping for all the courses need not be 12, it has to be 11 only. So by 2026, NBA would like all institutions to adopt and then practice only PO11. There will be questions, I know, which people have already started asking when we were doing this awareness program in Anna University. There is one scheduled in Hyderabad and JNTU for more than 300 institutes. What happens in 22-23 or 23-24, we have already done. That remains for 12 PO because this is a transition. Okay, This is like we are moving car and then we are trying to change the wheel. It's not so easy. I can't say you stop and then change everything and then move on after 2 years. That is not possible. So that will say that transition is accepted throughout the world. Other institutions or other countries are also likely to do that. So your mapping, if you have done already for 12 POs, let it stay. But 25 onwards, whatever courses you are teaching, so first semester, second, or in all semesters, you have to realign with them for PO 11. Can you hear me? Am I audible? Hello?
Yes, sir. Everything is fine.
Yeah.
Okay, sir. We have a question.
Yes.
Sir, as you mentioned that the new POs are only 11, and suppose if we are going to apply this year, so for the
Yes.
last 2 years, that means for 22, 23 and 23, 24, will we have to prepare the older, that means 12 as per the PO 12, or we will have to change because we have already done exercise regarding the 12
Yeah.
POs.
Yeah. Right.
We have
Right.
mapped-
That's what precisely I said, and that's why I asked, can you hear me? So you have to keep that PO 12 only. Whatever you have done till 23, 24 year assessment year, 22, 23 assessment year, or even previous 21, 22, that will remain all your courses mapped to 12 POs only. Don't change. Don't try to do any re-engineering
Yes.
or reverse engineering. Don't do. But NBA has advertised, put this new self-assessment report for Tier 1 institution in the August of 2024. Good institution who are observant of what they can do would have done and then adopted. So anything you do beyond 24 August, or if you are late 25 January, let us say, you have to say that you have adopted these 11 POs, and after that, your mapping, etc., will start for this 11 POs. Much of it will not change. See, PO 1, 2, 3, 4, we have not changed much, 5. It's only PO 6 has changed, whichever you have mapped it to. Not going to be that much difference. But there are few things which you have to do, which will come in the next 15-20 minutes, which are very important for the participants. This criteria 4 and all may not be very important. I'm not going to stress too much
Okay,
on
thank
that.
you, sir.
Okay? Right.
Yes, thank you.
Right. So we'll also have few more questions. Let people write it down and we'll answer all the questions, right? Okay. So now there could be program specific outcomes. These have been retained because some institutions still want to write very specific outcomes. So you can write, there should be more, 2 to 3. In fact, 2 is sufficient, I would say. They should not be a repetition of POs when you write this. They have to be very specific to your, a specialization. Okay, don't repeat that. So the key points in graduate attributes and professional competency, GAPC 4, which NBA is talking about now, the changes in India, graduate attributes and professional competencies. But we in engineering institution, we are interested or concerned with only graduate attribute. Professional competencies will come beyond their graduation when they practice, and that is something which industry will look into. So you need to look at knowledge profiles, okay? And then you need to look at complex engineering problems or activities, which has to be met by all institutions through their courses. And then while you are solving these complex engineering problems, you need to ascertain that you have taken care of the sustainability goals. These are the 3 changes. Make a note. Now, quickly, I will spend a couple of minutes because this is the change which has been brought and you should know. On the left hand side is the Washington Accord WK, which is applicable for all engineering courses of 4 and above years. On the right hand side is the Sydney Accord, which is for the diploma, 3 years or maybe 2 years in some places. Now, I brought this both together just for you to understand the differences. There's not much of a difference, but then there is a subtle difference which you would like to know. So we would like to concentrate only on WKs basically, okay? Now, these are the knowledge system. Read carefully, make a note, all teachers have to go through. They are not difficult, but actually what our courses are already there. Luckily, that way India has been blessed by the type of curriculum developed by our seniors who has developed engineering curriculum. Most of it is already there. It is not like some other country who is catching up with engineering. Luckily, engineering is well established in our country. So read that carefully. It is all knowledge profile courses or something like, let us say, a systematic theory-based understanding of the natural resources applicable to the discipline, it be it civil engineering or biotechnology or computer science or mechanical engineering. And awareness of the social sciences. Social sciences is a separate department. Engineering, because we work for social cause, we need to learn them. Otherwise, social sciences is dealt with a separate department called social science engineering itself. So what are these systematic theory-based courses? Does all our physics or chemistry or mathematics courses or biology course which we teach at engineering level fall under theory-based? I think so. So they are all theory-based courses only. That is the meaning of that. So are we teaching those courses in the first year? Yes, definitely we are teaching 1, 2 and different levels of physics, chemistry and other engineering courses. Likewise, if you see WK2, they are conceptually based mathematics courses such as your numerical analysis. I'm sure numerical analysis for mechanical engineering, numerical analysis for electrical engineering. So these are actually conceptual based mathematics is taken and taught to a discipline. There are definitely those type of courses are there in our second year and third year. There are a few more courses which have come now, statistics and logic and linear algebra. They're all these type of courses which have come specifically for computational engineers and few other courses. So all that will form under WK2. Similarly, a systematic theory-based formulation of fundamentals of engineering. Let us say a geology course is taught in engineering. For example, the geology is a separate course. How rocks are formed, what are their nature, soft rock, hard rock, etc. But if I want to use it for my civil engineering, for example, how do I use it? So they are basically engineering fundamental only, theory based, but we use it for a particular engineering. There are a few courses. If they are there, then that becomes WK3, or you can always introduce such courses if we don't have. Last one is called specialist knowledge. Now, there will be some theoretical frameworks and there will be body of knowledge, but used only for those engineering. The best example, because I'm a civil engineer, I can give is surveying. You might have heard of surveying. Surveying is basically comes from fundamentals of the trigonometry only. Horizontal angle, vertical angle. Once you know the base and an angle, you can always calculate the length. So like that. So, but I use it for civil engineering, specialist knowledge. So like that, I'm sure in your program, you have all these courses. So now you have to understand them in that manner. And there are about 5, 6 like that. You have to look at the engineering knowledge. These are Washington account knowledge profiles. And 8 and 9 morely related to your research literature, something you do it at the little later. 7 is the role of engineers in terms of society, identified issues, and some kind of responsibility, public safety, sustainable development has to bring. So where all you do activity-based learning, etc., your projects, seminars have to include. So, and then of course, ethics is directly related to PO8. So like that, these knowledge profiles now you as a faculty have to start looking at carefully. While you do that, earlier we used to say complex engineering problem. Look at any program outcomes, you will always see there is a apply science and application of science, mathematics knowledge for a discipline to solve complex engineering problem. So complex engineering problem was there. And when people met together, and there will always have some kind of an agreement or a disagreement that look, what is simple for you is a complex for me, and what is complex for somebody is a very easy for them. So the International Engineering Alliance has worked with many experts put together and then brought some kind of a definition for you now. Now this is very careful read. Attribute is complex engineering problem. This complex engineering problem will have more than one character. WP1 has to be there. You cannot escape. In addition to that, any one of this, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, any one of them related to your course or something like that, you have to pick it up. Okay, so read carefully. It cannot be resolved. Any problem you give to your students as a complex engineering problem in your course or in a project cannot be solved unless there is an in-depth knowledge in your discipline. And it should encompass the knowledge profiles WK 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, which are the courses which deal with WK 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Could be any of those courses. Identify those courses and then I do it. And then you also have to look at any one of them. So it's up to you which one you would like to, whether you would like to do depth of analysis or you would like to look at the range of conflicting, because different parameters students have to do it, unknown things basically. That the WP2 will be relatively easy because you can vary parameters in the same problem, give that parameters to different group of students and then do it. We'll show one or two example related to civil engineering just to trigger your thinking process in that line. Or you can go for codes if you are dealing with the standard codes, and or you can look at WP 6 or 7 in terms of their in your fields, broad fields. So this is something which you need to look at it. That is the change which has been brought in this. So these slides will also, in case we cannot see that, it will be there. So you have to read them carefully. While you do that, you need to pick up any one or two sustainable development goals for your program. See, don't try to do all 17 for your program. Let us say you are a mechanical engineering, you see which one is related to you. Whether you can look at the affordable and clean city, or whether you can look at industry 4, industry innovation at criteria 9, or if you're a civil engineer, you can do clean water. If you're a chemical and biotechnology, you can look at clean water and climate action. So like that, you have to pick up one or two. Don't try to do all of them. But all your programs have to look at or targeted with one of the sustainable goals. For example, level encompasses all engineering basically. Okay. So like that, you have to look at them carefully. Then comes your 1.3.2. This is a new one, which is for the first time we have asked you to map your courses, POs to PSOs. So all these things I took some time because POs first you have to understand. POs have an embedded knowledge profiles, and there is a word called complex engineering problem. So that is what now you as a teachers have to look at. Whatever you design, how you design your courses, how you deliver your courses through what kind of pedagogy, and how you evaluate with what type of measurement method which you will have, whether it is a test is sufficient or a seminar is required for you or any other method which you would like to do. That is the crux of this 1, 2, 3 criteria. Okay. Can you hear me? Am I audible and slides are okay?
Yes, sir. Everything is fine.
Perfect. Good. Now, I would like to draw your attention for this table. You will be filling it up carefully, but please look at on the left-hand side. We have given only table 1.3.1 where you have to list these courses. Now, how do you list these courses? P1, I don't know. So let us say you have already designed a curriculum and you have a set of courses. For first year, about 6 and 6, 12 courses. Second year, another 10 courses. Third year, another 8 courses, because it progressively reduces. And then final year, probably you don't have any courses, probably only on NPTEL and industry, internship and projects, etc. Okay. So you have, let us say, about 25, 30 courses. Now, NBA wants you to map which are the courses which you are using or which you have mapped or which you have chosen to meet the attribute called program outcome 1, which is apply science, science, mathematics, engineering, etc. for solving complex engineering problem, which means you have to choose those courses carefully while looking at the knowledge profile. So then only those courses have to be written here on the right hand side. Okay. So this is, and then in order to do this exercise, it's not, you have to probably at a department level, all the colleagues have to come together, whoever is teaching at different verticals. For example, in computer science engineering, some of you are doing only programming, and some of them development course, some of them are design courses, and whatever courses, networking courses. You all have to come together and say you have to start redefining your courses, which knowledge profile they are coming in, and where do I can put it. One of the advantage of this, what we thought, was when you write a course here only, let us say I take a fluid mechanics course or a strength of material course, I've written it to PO1, okay, or I can also rewrite it to PO2, nothing wrong, okay, we can write 2. Once I write this fluid mechanics course in PO1 and PO2, say for example, when I am writing a course outcome for fluid mechanics, I can only target PO1 and PO2. It makes my job easy. Earlier, teachers were trying to target all program outcomes. 1, 2, 4, I can do this, I can do that. Not necessary now. Once as a department or a program, you put your courses to meet all the program outcomes, sufficient number. Those courses are to target only corresponding 2-3 POs, which will be sufficient, which means all the attributes for the students are taken care. That is the idea of introducing this. You have to do this. I have got one example for you. For example, a biotechnology course. First, what a teacher has to do, let us say you are teaching fluid mechanics, then you have to identify this course which belongs to which knowledge profile. For example, this belongs to WK3 because it's a theory-based formulation of engineering fundamentals of unit operations like fluid flow, size reduction, etc. Looking at the content, you have to say this course whether it falls on WK3, WK2, WK1. For example, microbiology course which biotechnology friends teach is theory-based understanding of the biology. In that microbiology, there is nothing application comes there. In something else called process principles calculation, some course which they have a process concept. So which means they have mapped it to WK2. Basically, these courses, once you identify based on the content, which knowledge profiles they are taking care, okay, and then you go for the knowledge wherever WK3 is mapped to which PO, you will simply map it to that corresponding course. For example, this knowledge profile PO1 has got, sure. Can you see this slide? So PO1 has got WK1 to WK4. PO2 has got WK1 to WK4. So once your course is identified.
Slides are visible.
Yeah. Now PO1.
Sir, slides are visible.
Huh.
Yes, sir. Very much visible.
Yes, thank you. So I'm trying to say that PO1 has got embedded with WK1 and WK4. So once you identify a course, whether it is WK1, WK2, you can put it either under PO1 or you can put it under PO2. That is the point I'm trying to make. Okay, right. We'll go back to this original slide. Yep, here. Okay. So that is what is something which you had to do additionally, what you were not doing earlier. Those who have already gone through one cycle, but somebody is going for the first time, this is probably straightforward work which you have to do additionally. So moving on, then comes the important thing. All teachers have to write what is known as course outcomes. Now, course outcomes are the measurable statements. So you have to write them considering all the units. Some people have the habit of writing unit 1, unit 2, unit 3, unit 4, 5 units, 5 outcomes. But what happens is in unitization in engineering, generally content comes from different, it is kind of a assorted chocolate box. It is not uniform, okay? And hence, Unit 1 and Unit 2 can have both application and analyze type of topics. And then if I had to write, then you are losing out the skill. So the teacher has to look at the overall content and see which are the attributes he would like to measure at the end of the course. Like one such simple course which is called engineering strength of materials. I have shown an example here. An action verb called apply laws of physics, etc. for the given material. I have targeted to PO1. So NBA wants table 1.4.1 to write your course outcome and then start writing this course outcome. So about all the 8 semester COs you have to write systematically, and based on that, people will decide how your course outcome. Then there is a course articulation matrix, which PO you have mapped. So CO1 was mapped to PO1, CO2 has mapped to PO2. See, look here, as many simple you have to do, don't map it for more than 2 or 3. One single course outcome, only one action verb if you use, it's easy for you if you are some learning outcome based education. Only very experienced teachers will do multiple verb in a CO and then try to map it for different POs. Because when you ask questions to measure that, you have to ask your questions very carefully, whether it is application you are asking question or analyze, because people write apply and analyze at the end of the course, student some kind of a signal processing, blah, blah, blah. So that is the knowledge part. Action verb is apply and analyze. There are two action verbs. So when you ask a question in your test or assignment, etc., whether your application part you are checking or analysis part you are checking comes a problem. Don't say they include both. Everything includes. No, you have to have a specific measurement. That is the important. And as simple as you keep it is better. So like that, then you have a program articulation matrix, which consists of all the courses on the left-hand side, 15 to 20 courses, which you choose in your program, various teachers, it will all come. For example, that strength of material, I have mapped it to PO1, PO2, PO4, and then probably PO9, like that. So here we will check for strength of material. Suppose if you have written it, which are the, so you would have also strength of material should have come in this also in the previous mapping. So that is the cross check which will happen. Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Right. Quickly, of course, in your OB, which is already a 7th day, I'm sure somebody might have taught you very well how to write course outcome. But I, as a teacher, cannot resist telling few things about course outcomes. These are measurable statement, and 4 to 5. Don't worry. In some courses, you can write only 3 or 4 or 2 only. That doesn't matter. So they have to be measurable outcomes. You can follow whatever taxonomy you want to use. Bloom's, everybody use revised Bloom's. Remember, understanding are not much useful in engineering because it's all about apply. Go back and read your program outcomes carefully. No, not many places you write understanding or remember. Student at the end of the program will be able to remember is not there. It's always apply, analyze, identify, design, evaluate, create, like that only. So it has to be apply, analyze, and above. Higher order thinking, what we call. And while you are doing Bloom's taxonomy, please remember, it is not only cognitive, there are other domains called affective domain and psychomotor domain. Few other verticals like performing arts or sports, etc. People can measure simultaneously all the three. Cognitive, for example, you take example of this dance. What dance knowledge, that mudra and all you can see. That's all knowledge. Her teacher would have been taught her very well how to do this. For what he has to show as what kind of a mudra and all that, that is knowledge. Then affective domain, the abhinaya on the face, see that also has to come out. So, and then the psychomotor, the dance movement itself, whether it is rhythmic and as per the Shastra. All the three, when they measure in their examination, they will measure. But how do we do it for engineering? We can't do it in a classroom. I'm giving a question, students are only writing, which is only knowledge, which is cognitive. So if you really want to measure affective and psychomotor, you have to take them out of the classroom, which is your laboratories or your field trips or any other integrated type of activities. Then you can measure all the three. When you apply Bloom's taxonomy, that is one. But probably for engineering, more than Bloom's, Solo, there is one more taxonomy called SOLO. That is more useful. In fact, Sri Lanka adopts Solo as one of the taxonomies officially for their country. Generally, people make a mistake. However good teacher you are, whether you come from IISc, IITs, or even abroad, generally institution doesn't teach you how to write course outcome. This was given to one of my colleague who came from IISc. This physics syllabus was given, he did not know. Excellent training from institute, but then he wrote only unit 1, took that unit and then wrote understand. So they are not good course outcomes. Okay, you have to learn how to write good course outcomes. So action word, the structure of the course outcome, you need to have an action word and a learning statement. What you want to measure is the action word. It's given below. It could be compile, create, plan, revise, some action. What you want to measure. Then the content will come from your learning statement, will come from your subject, what you are teaching. It could be web design, it could be thermodynamics, it could be strength of materials or environmental and so on. Generally, for a teacher, a syllabus like that is given and ask them to write a course outcome. Okay. So you need to look at, somebody wrote, I will answer all those questions. Two verbs are not good. Somebody might have written and you should avoid it. Okay. We'll answer that. So you have to look at how many POs you would like to target for this course. Do you want to use all the POs? No, not possible. Okay. Target for your course based on the knowledge profile of this course, whether WK1, WK2, or whether you can use WK9, etc. In some topics. So you have to choose that. Okay. So no, this is some university has given the understand the last basic. Understand is not a good action verb. You cannot measure. We'll discuss that. Okay. So which PO? So you have to identify. Some university might have given, so you can't use that. So you have to rewrite your course outcomes accordingly based on today's session. Once you understand what it is required. So you need to pick up carefully. Whenever you're writing course outcome, you need to analyze on the background. This is a good example. Let us say student at the end of the course will be able to apply what? Laws of physics. In this content, strength of material, it is basically Hooke's law, Macaulay's law, these Saint-Venant's principles. We use a lot of physics principles, but apply it to civil engineering, beams, columns, and slabs, etc. So the knowledge part is only stress and strain or deformation only. We can use beam in one of the unit, it could be column in some other unit, or slabs in some other unit. So holistically, when a teacher writes, it's application of laws only. It could be in unit 1, Saint-Venant's principle. In unit 4, it could be Macaulay's law. Doesn't matter. But I can ask questions in unit 1, in test 1, or in the final examination of unit 4, apply concept. So action verb is apply. Apply laws of physics to compute types of responses, whatever it is, stress and strain in the given material or given elements also you can write, whether it is beam, column, etc. So you need to have an action verb. You need to have a learning statement. While you're writing apply concept, you also have to look at which PO you are mapping. Okay, analyze which PO you are mapping. If it is an integrated course, which is, we are teaching this, you also conduct experiment, for example. So which will be an open-ended experiment when you go, not prescriptive, which 1, 2, 3, 4, 8 experiments you do, they are all prescriptive. You have to give open-ended experiment based on that after 1 or 2. Then they will have to conduct experiment and validate a physical behavior which is unknown to them, because that's what they are going to do when they go out of the portals. And then, of course, they will also prepare a nice laboratory report, communication skill, which you can expand. So this is how you have to write with an action verb and a learning statement. Also map it to which PO. Then you will do better. So it can be a mapping is based on the evidences, what you would like to do, how much evidence. If it is strongly correlated, we use 2, 3, and somewhat this medium 2, and somewhat is 1. You would like to avoid 1 because it's not going to give even in your computation. But 3 mapping, if you do, you need to have more than 1 event. Let us say test 1, you would have given some questions, and an assessment, an assignment or a problem-based learning also you should have done it. So enough of evidences to make sure that that attribute, whether it's a design or an analysis or a PO1, PO2, whatever you do, has to be there. Basically, you have to do like that. Then comes the constructive alignment, where you will do the correct questions. Now you have defined your course, you have mapped your course, then what questions you give, that is the assessment part. Okay. So in the beginning, I showed 3 unions, 1 course, curriculum, and 1 pedagogy you are delivering, and then the assessment part. Assessment part also becomes very important, which is called constructive alignment. We see an example for that, but it's a civil engineering example, but I will take not much of a time quickly and then try to do it. Let us say mixed proportioning technique in concrete technology, which is taught throughout the world in all civil engineering program, is, let us say I take cement, aggregate, water, and any other chemical admixtures I mix to get a very good concrete. The analogy which I give, suppose if you want to make a good South Indian sambar, Okay, I give you the same type of masala powder, sambar powder, and all the ingredients and dal, everything. Ask you to make a sambar for from 30-40 people like you. Will the sambar be same? Unlikely. That is because something called optimization will come, knowledge will come, and how much to use, etc., etc. So one can use these optimization techniques, optimization kind of a problems in your area where variables can be too much, but the start point can be same. For designing a concrete, let us say a grade of concrete, one can introduce, student can define. So like that in your area, you have to think what it is, and variables can be brought in terms of where all you use it. I use it in hot weather concrete, I use it in underwater, I use it for a very mass concreting for a dam. The minute same concrete, when I'm using a different situation, the parameter changes. So this way I can bring in variation for the students, for example. So suppose this is something which is very important, you have to teach student, and then probably you have to ask questions also. A simple teacher will say, somebody who is learning OBE, he will write a course outcome like that. Student at the end of the course will be able to understand mixed proportioning technique. Now, he will argue understanding is very important, and hence I want to write this question. If a teacher takes this stand, there is nothing much you as a leader can say. Okay, you allow it. Then you have to ask, okay, they have to understand what question. They say briefly explain the various methods of mixed proportioning. There is Indian method, British method, Canadian method, and all that. Student can read, remember, and write. Is this question is whether he has mapped to what PO. If he has mapped to PO1, which is on the top, is shown clearly, students have to apply any one of those mathematics or engineering specialization solution. Did they apply here? No, they just reproduced it. And hence, this may not be a good example or a correlation for the type of question you are given and type of measurement you are trying to do. So if there is 4 marks, you cannot give 4, you cannot give 3, at the most you can give 2 or 1, which is a deficiency or only 25% of the marks. But some other teacher, let us say, will be able to redo this situation, will be able to apply mixed proportion principle, design concrete. A lot of numericals he has given, the statement itself he has given, but he has not given open-ended. Okay, not WP1, which I talking about, not in-depth knowledge, but knowledge of this with a code. If you give, people can design. But if you would have applied, mapped it to PO1, it would have been correct, but he mapped it to PO2. What is PO2? Apply, analyze, identify, research literature. He is not doing any of this. He will simply use all these numericals and then try to solve that problem. Okay, that's what is told here. That is again not a constructive alignment you are doing properly. But some other teacher, let us say, he says design a concrete, but everything is open-ended. He's using an assignment, let us say, and give very open-ended and map it to 3, which is a design. So which comes very nearer to what intended measurement. The idea of what I'm trying to tell you is basically there could be 3 types of teachers in you, which could be situation. 1, if you want to do easy, where you are unlikely to get accreditation because constructive alignment is not there. 2, you are trying to do some kind of a alignment, which is okay. Maybe you will get away with 3 years, but what you are eventually aim to do is a situation 3 kind of a teacher, wherever it is possible, then a proper alignment will come, what you would intended measurement. So choosing the right appropriate CO and choosing the right appropriate assessment or a question is very, very important. That's a point I would like to stress with that example. Okay, right. Can you hear me? Are you with me? Hello?
Yes, sir, very much audible.
Exactly. Okay.
Yes,
So as you can see, when we go for evaluation and when we start looking at the self-assessment reports, I see plenty of this because NBA said 6 outcome, people would have written 6 outcome, and then they would have mapped it to all POs, giving some or the other reasoning like that. So this teacher must be very highly ambitious. It is impossible to get evidences for all of them because when you write something mapping, you have to show evidences. So some teachers are slightly better, apply the fundamental concept of binary logic, very nice way of writing a course outcome. But when it comes to mapping, apply is the action verb. It has mapped to PO1, then they have also mapped it to PO3, which is design. When your measurement itself is apply, how can you ask a question for design? That is what it comes. And then when you write an action verb called design, then you did not map it high with a high correlation as to. That is again a problem. So you should be careful in what you write as a course outcome and how do you map. And many such examples are there. I will skip them for your references, which you can do. I think I have talked enough of that. Okay. Then comes your criteria 2, which is not much basically, which is very easy. We will look at your quality, describe the quality of teaching learning. So what kind of pedagogy you have used? Is it an active learning you have started, or at least some of your teachers have started? And how do you conduct your experiment? What kind of assessment you do, or when you describe? So in 2.1, you are expected to describe all that, and how NBA will evaluate.
Sir, should we take one or two online queries which are coming in the chat section?
Yes.
Okay.
Now,
So
yes.
Dr. Anjana is asking, can we write two verbs in a single CO from different Bloom's level?
That's what I said. One can write, but then they have to be very careful in measuring them. Because let us say in test 1, you say apply and analyze some content she wanted to write.
Okay.
In the test 1, the question which she asked, whether she is asking for an apply or analyze, but the course outcome is same. The same course outcome, there are two. What questions you will ask? Is it for apply or analyze become? So that distinction, if teacher can be very clear, like for that same CO in test, I do only apply, but analysis, I give an assignment, suppose, which is also mapped to CO1. Possible, but the beginner should avoid.
Okay. Fine, sir.
Any other questions?
Sir, we have one question which is basically related to FSR calculations.
Okay.
So
Have
at
to wait for that.
LNMIT, we have electronics and communication
No,
engineering.
you have to wait till we go for criteria 5, which is another 20 minutes.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes,
I took more time for criteria 1. And
okay, fine. So we
yeah,
will
we'll
ask
go for it.
later.
Yeah, 4 and 5 I will also spend, and then we'll close, because 6, 7 are easy. People can take it. I'm not.
Fine.
Only important things I'm doing it in this session. Okay.
Fine.
Right. Okay. Right. We'll answer all that question. Don't worry.
Okay, sir. Right.
Right. So moving on, this is what we would like to, NBA would like to have your teaching learning process. Then capstone project becomes very important now. How do you measure them? Whether which sustainable goals we are targeting. So project classification, application, etc., incorporating factors such as environment, safety, ethics standard, how you are defining in the beginning of your floating this course becomes very important. All that you have to capture in this criteria 2.2. 2.3 to 2.6, as you can see, all these are the activities which you do in your day-to-day work in a semester, internship, industry, industrial visit, etc. But when they come back, how are you measuring them? What is the process? What rubrics you are using to measure which PO becomes very important. So you have to define in your course very carefully. Similarly, seminar and mini projects, case studies, and in some of the universities, innovative, they have already started integrating out of those 160 or 170 credit, which a graduate has to earn in India now. They are already permitting some 4 or 8 or 10 other courses, something from NPTEL. So you also look at them, how you would like to use those courses for what kind of this thing. 2.7 is very important, which is brought in specifically to meet the new requirement of the Washington Accord. Solving complex engineering problem through your core courses or designs or your capstone project or hackathon or any other activity-based learning, you need to prepare a portfolio of these events in your program. All that students have done from 3rd semester to 7th semester, you may have to take out and put it in one file for 2.7, and that will be evaluated later. And any other steps taken enhancing institute partnership industry? It was there earlier also, but we have added whether there are any industry offered short-term program or training. Now, many of these companies are coming aggressively now. AWS or certification course or courses are designed so that the companies will benefit. So those courses are fine. What kind of partial delivery of that courses has happened, all that can be captured in this particular criteria 2.8. So then how do you do this complex engineering problem? One of the way of doing it is problem-based learning, which I think is a good way of attending it. Problem-based learning as compared to project-based learning, which you can do it within a course. Whereas project is a common project, designing a drone or designing a electrical vehicle. All groups will work towards a common goal. But in problem-based learning, students pick up different problems and then they start working on that basically. So that is the difference between problem-based learning and project-based learning that you need to look at it basically. Okay. So there are few advantages which you can look. So what we do is generally we float a company or define a problem for the students to understand. Give the content, let us say source of materials, quality of materials, etc. is a content. You can give that, and then you also have to say what is expected of them: communication, social concern, capacity to learn independently. So you as a teacher, first you have to tell what you are expecting in this problem-based learning. So then the problem is pervious concrete, for example, which is totally independent of the good concrete which we design. Roof is a impervious concrete, but students have to work entirely on the opposite side, pervious concrete, using that. So they have to come out with some kind of a solution, actionable, and you have to maintain, if it has to be a complex engineering problem, it has to be beyond known knowledge. In-depth knowledge is required on concrete design, and then there has to be variation. So you start looking at which are the knowledge profiles you use for this, and then which sustainable goals you will use for this. So like that, and then you have to measure them through various rubrics, whether you are measuring PO1, PO2, PO4. So in my view, complex engineering problem help you to target your PO2 and PO6 to be precise, which are very important. Design courses are generally taken care by designs, and conduct investigation is taken by laboratory type of questions. So one more example which I can give is, let us say you want to club both PO2 and PO6. One of my colleagues has done an environmental engineering course. Let us say definition is, let us say you have a lot of agro waste in India. When you burn it, it becomes a carbon. But if you burn in a controlled manner through pyrolysis, a process called, it becomes activated carbon. And carbon can be used as a filter to give a good water or remove some kind of a contaminants in the water. Water is a major problem. Clean water is a major problem in our country. Suppose if you choose this kind of a socially relevant problems, but students have to work within that course and then to learn, etc. So develop an environmental friendly water filter that uses biochar. Biochar is when you buy any other agro. So somebody can use a sugarcane waste, somebody can use a paddy waste, somebody can use some other waste, wheat waste or something like that. So probably in Punjab and Haryana, they should not burn just like that. They should actually cut it and then burn. It will become a good carbon. Okay. And then you have to define this kind of a problem and then give it for a group activity. Okay. And then what you have to do now is you have to justify that this problem is a complex engineering problem. You as a teacher, this will be within you. If somebody asks you, you will explain. Depth of knowledge, WP1 and WP2O, my colleague would like to say, requires in-depth knowledge of chemical engineering, which is called pyroanalysis. We might teach or we may give handout what is pyroanalysis. Students have to read on their own. Okay. So in-depth knowledge, and then they have to go beyond the class hours, etc. Then they will have to look at contaminant behavior, when how contaminants actually within the water behave and how do I remove it, whether they have a conductivity, they don't have a conductivity, and things like that. So that becomes the depth of knowledge beyond your coursework. Then range of conflict. I mean, if I giving it for 10 different groups, what is the conflict, how they work? So conflicts arise in the balancing of the efficiency of contaminant removal. Now, with agriculture waste, whatever you do, whatever type of activated carbon it has come, how much contaminant we can remove? Of course, they have to apply, prepare a filter, pass the water, and whatever water comes out, they have to do all the regular tests which you have taught them in a regular laboratory class. So like that, variation will come, conflicting requirement. And then the knowledge profiles come from the different courses. WK1 through some course, WK2 some other course, WK7 through some other course, let us say. These are knowledge profiles. When they have completed, let us say after 4th semester or 5th semester, this WK1, WK5, WK7, you can float this type of a level of a problem. That is how complex engineering problem can be taken care. It's only an example. It is work in progress. I'm just projecting it for the purpose of as a reference only. Don't take it as a kind of a vetted problem. Okay. Don't say, Professor Rangnath has shown this and there are so many mistakes. I'm sure there are many mistakes. You can always do a much better job than this. Okay. So like that, and then you have to prepare rubrics to measure it. PO1, if you want to measure application of that, okay, what you expect is comprehensive understanding and application of chemistry and environmental science. When you ask few questions, further questions, what kind of applications they have done in that problem, if you are happy, then you will know that that maps to PO1. Okay, like that you have to use your assessment, complex engineering problem. Okay, so any questions at this point of time? Can you hear me?
No, sir. There are no questions right now.
Excellent. Okay. People are seeing the slides and they are listening this thing. Sorry, audio is fine. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Right. Right. Moving on, there is nothing much for me to in criteria 3 because it is evaluation. All that what you have done in a semester, you would have maintained a portfolio, right? Evaluation of assessment means you have assignments you have collected from your students, you have kept it. Unit test, whatever they have written online, offline, etc. They have got midterm. What constructive alignment of questions you have done to arrive at that CO, which I show an example, all that you have to show it in your course file. So evaluators are likely to look at your course file, which has to be maintained, which should contain of your assessment and semester and exam question paper, how it is evaluated, laboratory work, and any other industry in training or internship which your students have gone, and the portfolio of the projects which they have done. So that actually completes your 3.5. There is nothing much for me to explain here. It is self-explanatory. But what all evaluation you do now, if you're not doing it, some of them we have written very clearly. Rubrics used for assessing complexity, rubrics used to assessing teamwork, communication. We have brought in few more things. If you're not done, probably you have to right time to sit together, put your heads down and start preparing these rubrics to measure it. Because more and more as we move forward in the next couple of years, it's not about the teaching. Teachers teaching hours are likely to reduce, but the evaluation part is likely to be bigger and bigger, which is actually required for our student is the belief. Okay.
Sir.
Yes.
So one question here is, let us say we defined these rubrics in 2023 or 24 only.
Yes.
So the project data which was before this, how should we show the outcome attainments for those?
Right. See, if you have defined 23, 24, that end of project, which is 24, last year, by August, September, all your students are gone.
Right.
For that rubrics will remain. For now, when you are measuring the project work in this July, August, all those projects should have contained this particular thing what we are expecting, 25 onwards. So you have to redefine those rubrics for the project.
Okay. So fine, sir.
Right? Possible.
Okay.
Yes. Right. So then attainment of course outcomes, this is something which you are aware of it, or somebody who has known earlier. So all courses which you teach have to be attained by the individual teacher. I think there is a session of computation after my session. I saw that in your schedule. So I will leave it at that point. If there are any questions, we'll take it probably some other time also. So you need to look at the attainments which are given. Generally, what we do is we define the which CO I would like to measure, whether it's in test 1, or midterm exam or an assignment, etc. CO2 in that, I make that job easy. And then I take students list, what questions I have asked for CO1, what questions I have asked for CO2, I compile. And then based on the target, let us say 60% of students should score more than 70% of marks, or 60% of marks is my cohort. Who are all scored more than 60% or 70%, I mark them as 3, 2, 1, etc. I take all of them only 2, or sometimes people use average. I take only if it is attained, 3, 3, 3 only. And then like that, only attained more than 70% of student. And then find out how much is the average or percent. So find out whether CO1 is attained or not. Like that, you will do for all your courses. Individual teachers are doing this. So let us say you're taking about 20 courses. 20 courses assessment is with you already. Attainment process is already with you. Then you should move on for a program outcome, etc. So all these courses which on the left hand side, your attainment, you will put it here and then do a sigma vertically. So you take that and then you will get a attainment for that assessment here for each PO1, PO2, PO3, PO4. Different people use different method, doesn't matter. Idea is to get the indirect assessment or a direct assessment together, and then give a appropriate weightage, 50% for the CIE and remaining 50% for your semester end exam or any other type of evidences, indirect assessment you would like to do, graduate survey, exit survey and all that, and then arrive at these outcomes, PO outcomes. Now, computation of these PO outcomes, whatever method you use, which you can explain, is good enough for us. Okay. Once you explain, the question comes, if your design has got only 68% for a batch which has come out, what is the meaning of that? Which means all your students who went, your target was 75%, they are all bad because they got only 68%. Is that the question? The answer is no. Students are good in some other outcome attribute. Let us say PO1 and PO3, there is more than 75, 77 and probably can improve further. But 68% design is something which I took but did not probably do better. And hence you have to go back and all those courses investigate where you could have improved. For that improvement, you need this analysis. Okay, that's what I've written here. PO can be adequately addressed and assessment should be aligned with COs, and then you compile them and then you need to look at for the continuous improvement. Okay, right. So then criteria 4 is here, but it is more of a database which is self-explanatory, somebody who looks at it carefully. N is the sanctioned intake, N1 is the student admitted in the first year minus number of students who migrated to other programs. Generally, it happens in the beginning. N2 is the number of students come for a second year, which is a lateral entry. N3 is very rare. AICT give at some point of time a separate division. But if you are continuing, only few institutions in India are continuing, then only it will come. N4 is something new, which is admitted in the first year via all supernumerary quotas. For example, some institution have got a Kashmiri quota or a person of Indian origin quota, something like that, PIO quota. Those kind of data, you fill it up. Let us say an example is given here, something like that. So you fill it up and then you add all of them. In the current academic year is 23-24. N2 will not be there because lateral entry student will not come. But in the previous year, okay, lateral entry student would have come, 11. So like that, previous years will have this column and then you add all of them, you get this number. This number is very important for us. What you get from 17-18, 18-19, 20, like that, 5 years data is required because we would like to calculate how these graduates, let us say 17-18, 131 students came, but how many students went out as a graduates? Hence, NBA would like to capture this data. In addition to that, these two table 4B and 4C have been introduced like that, but don't worry too much about it unless you are encouraging a multiple exit and multiple entry at this point of time. This table will be filled. If you are not doing it in your institutions, this table may not do. And this is very evident here, whichever year, whatever number comes in the second year, you write that and then take a stock of that on the horizontal and also at the vertical below N5 and N6. N5 is for multiple entry and N6 for multiple exit. So small numbers, it could be 5 student, 8 student, doesn't matter. But if some institution started doing it, so yeah, all slides will be shared and they are already there in NBA website, don't worry. Okay, so this is something which you can look at it, and if there are any doubts, we'll talk about it. And one typical example NBA we have incorporated for your benefit. For example, if you take 23-24, there are 123 students. Out of that, out of 120 intake and 11 are lateral entry. There could be one entry, multiple exit, and one multiple somebody came and somebody gone, like that, and then that is 120. So if you go one more previous year, out of that 120, 116 people, in the second year only 115 people passed. When you got second year, you have a first year you will not have lateral entry. Lateral entry will come only in the second year. So hence this data has to be filled carefully. If you track the registration numbers of the student, which year they have entered, this becomes very easy for this program coordinators who would like to do. And most institutions get it right. There is no problem as far as filling up of this data is concerned, as I see. Then comes the enrollment ratio, which is about 20 points or 20 marks we have kept. Let us say 120 students is a sanctioned intake, and then these are the numbers which you have admitted, and then there are some people have gone or whatever it is. Then you take the average, and 99% is a very good enrollment ratio. And then we give. If it is more than 90% of the student, you get full marks. And progressively, as you can see, up to about 40%, above 40%, you get 5 marks. If it goes below 40%, you don't get any marks. But NBA has removed in the pre-qualifier that earlier, if 50% or 60% of students does not come to your program, it is not accredited.
Hello.
Yes?
Sir, can I ask a question? If you...
Sure, you can.
Sir, I have a situation in my institute. I need a clarification on a few points regarding the same criteria. Let's say I have X number of students who have admitted in the first year, in the first semester, and then after first semester, due to the several rounds of the counseling in the different, they withdraws in between the semester. And there is one more exercise in second semester. The branch change exercise happened here. So few students migrated to other branches and few joins the one branches. So in this scenario, let's say 150 is my total intake, and I have a 150 at the time of admissions, and 10 have been branch changed internally, and 2 incomes. So 150 minus 10 plus 2 is a normal formula that we know. And what happened if the number of students who withdraw the admission in between the semester, they also should be minus?
Yes, because as far as the enrollment ratio is concerned, enrollment is something who will continue. Once he is enrolled, he gets a registration number. He has to go all the way to the course.
Okay.
So in between, if he leaves, he is left the course. That is the meaning of that. That's why your N4 will come, no, N3. Somebody who leaves in between. That is in between only.
Okay, so for simplification, can I say that the number of intake in that particular table will be the same as the second in the second semester number of student in the second semester?
No. In the table, I go very clearly, emphatically. Let us say first table. Here, N is the sanctioned intake of the program. Whatever you have a sanction, 120 means 120 only.
Okay.
Then number of students admitted. Let us say in your case, I take current academic minus 2. Let us say only 116 people have come. Okay. So don't worry about the number of students admitted in the second year, that is lateral entry. Then total number of students admitted in the first year were all supernumerary quota. 0.
Sir, actually, the N1 formula says the total number of students admitted in the first year. So the first year, now we have the exercise in 2 times in the 1 year, first semester and second semester. So if I say first year, it is the first semester, the date of admission, or the total number of students left in the first year.
Yeah, because it's a year I'm taking.
Okay.
If your university in your state it is permitted, you can do that. But in some other places, once everything has to happen the first 2 months. After that, subsequent government or the university will not give you permission to continue or any change.
Okay.
So if it is permitted. So when you are filling this data, professor, you will be doing it at the end of the year only. So this N1, that number, whatever officially that students will continue for a second year has to come for me.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Done? Okay.
Done.
Thank you. So based on that enrollment ratio, these marks will come. But the point which I wanted to make here is earlier, NBA would not allow you to apply for accreditation if you have your admission less than 50%. That bar has been removed now. Even if you have a 30% students, but if you are a good program and you have invested good and your teachers are maintained, the student faculty ratio is maintained, and you have maintained the facility, quality of the work is maintained, NBA would like to come and look at your facilities. But only thing is you will not get the enrollment ratio marks of this 20, but you can score in something else. That is the change. Then comes the success rate. Success rate is simply how many students took exam and how many students graduated with successful in a stipulated period. This number will be very easy. We are removed without backlog, with backlog and all that. Within the stipulated period is engineering is 4 years generally in India. How many students got and how many students at the end of the 4 year? He might have failed in 1 or 2 subjects in between, but was, and you get those numbers and get this fraction averaged out for last 3 years, and then multiply this fraction 0.42 with 15, you get your marks like that. So then the performance of the first year student, basically you get your CGPA or average marks. If you work in marks, it will total student and divided by the appeared number and multiply with that x y by z, let us say, and then you get these fractions, and that itself is your marks. Academic performance for second year, similarly academic performance for third year you have to compute. These are very straightforward formula based quantifiable type of parameters which NBA has maintained. Placement and studies on entrepreneurship, you well know your placement unit will generally keep track of this, and there is again no bar that earlier 40% of the students should have been placed. Now, whatever number you place, you get the marks. Otherwise, there is these marks are likely to.
For the evidence of placement, do we need to have offer letter of every student?
Yes, whoever has been placed of that batch has to be there.
Okay.
That you should also hand over to the evaluators when they come. That's the one thing they will ask. List of faculty members, list of students, and placement record.
Okay.
Okay, right. So professional activities, of course, every department will have this professional society, mechanical, civil, computer science of Society of India, or your own clubs, basically. Whatever activities you do in terms of their, co-curricular and curricular activities, all that data has to be maintained and provided. And student participation in professional events, whether you encourage to go for other good institution and compete there for hackathon, Kodiathons, Ideathons, or any other professional events, paper presentation, so on and so forth. And then publication of the students here in criteria 4, don't put data of your publication. That will come in criteria 5. This is only your students who participate and publish wherever they publish, even if it is in newsletters, magazines, national conferences, doesn't matter. Idea is to encourage students' communication, how to write a paper becomes important, and then that data has to be captured here. And then any other publications, emphatically people are asking 4.7.4. That completes criteria 4. So not much, basically student performance. As a teacher, we don't have much role to play because it would have already happened in the assessment years, previous 2-3 years. There is nothing much. Something which you do, you calculate now is this criteria 5 and 6 now. I will take about 5 to 10 minutes to explain them. And after that, we can have a question. Okay, facilities is not required for us, basically. you will have that. So what NBA wants is this particular table. In this type of table only, you have to fill up the form, name of the faculty, PAN number. If there is any APAR ID, you give that. Then highest degree, university, area of specialization, when they joined the institution, total number of experience, designation at the time of joining, and when they got that promotion will come in the subsequent section. Present designation and whether they are working here or not, or when they have left, when did they left, basically. All that data is to capture for 3 years. Current academic year, -1, -2. Very important. When the evaluators come, this is the first list duly signed by the chair of the program and then the head of the institution. Don't make variation in this list. It has to be consistent. It has to be with your evaluators and also the chairman. Very important. Once you do that, that's all is explained here very beautifully. One of the things which NBA now is looking at is all the faculty, all the teachers, whether regular or contractual, not part-time or hourly based, okay, will be considered for the purpose of calculation of student-faculty ratio, provided they should have worked 2 consecutive semesters. 2 consecutive semesters means generally we start in the month of August in India. Some people may start in July, doesn't matter, but generally August. So by 30th August or 1st September, they should have been recruited. Then September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April, which is eventually from September to April 30th. Okay, if they are there in whatever capacity, they could be contract because agreement is between 2 parties. NBA will not look at statutory. If teachers are present in those 2 semesters, we presume that the quality of teaching is maintained and evaluation is maintained. That is the idea. If somebody leaves after May, June, doesn't matter, but for that assessment year, they will be considered. A lot of people ask this question and hence I took time to explain that. That's what has been explained in these slides very clearly and in SAR also. Now coming to student-faculty ratio, the concept is student-faculty ratio is at the department level. Now a department can have many programs, more than 1, more than 3, 4, okay? Doesn't matter whether it is a UG program, PG program, if you are also a department which offers diploma, all of them come to me as a teachers. And all the students under that program will become students in principle. We'll see how it goes, okay? So now, let us say the number of UG program in the department, including the department or clusters. Cluster concept has been brought in here, allied and cluster as well. So let us say UG1 program, UG2, UGN program can be there. B is the notation given for all second year. So second year students of, let us say, computer science, second year student of AIML, second year student of business analytics, second year student of information science. B, they all come B1, B2, B3 like that. So C is third year, D is fourth year. So NBA is taking only second year, third year, fourth year. First year students are not counted for student-faculty ratio, number 1. So same thing is explained here. Similarly, faculty is all the faculty who teaches for that. Okay. So let us take one example and then try to do this. Let us say, computer science engineering, you have CSE, UG, CSE, artificial intelligence, so on and so forth. All the cluster department. I have listed about 6 departments. For example, in NBA SAR, we have tried to provide this example for the purpose of your reference. Now, the student faculty ratio table 5.1.2, which is very important number if you have to remember. So now I take UG1, UG1C, UG1D. Okay, UG1, so 132 in current academic year, 132 in the second year, 132, third year 132, and fourth year. This is for one program, computer science. Then UG engineering for computer science, total 395, 393, 390. So similarly for UG computer artificial intelligence, I take second year, third year, fourth year. For current academic -1, -2, and current. Like that, I keep doing for all the programs which are allied. Now I have changed the color for, like that. So all that are within the department, all that program. Now there is one allied department which is in red color, let us say information technology. I also take their program. All that I will add. And then I also add PG. There is one PG which is also department 1818, sanctioned intake. Okay. Plus the actual admitted lateral entry will form your total number. That has been defined very clearly. Then I get this total number 1964, 1954, 1919. These are not number of years. These now in some of the prominent universities, these are the computer science students put together. Now I got one more to add, allied departments, about 393. So I add allied department also for the department. And then my number now is 2357, 2345, 2307 is the total students including all UG, PG program from table 5.1.2. Then I had to look at few faculty members. Now there are, let us say 95, 99, 99. Number of faculty in the allied departments I have to add. So there will be total. These are the faculty members in the department. This red are the faculty department in the allied. Whoever it is I take. Total I do. Then I divide that student and then corresponding student, the faculty 120. Whatever ratio you get, that will be my student faculty ratio. I average it for 3 years to get the student faculty ratio. Okay. That's how I do. Once I do, if it is less than 15, you get 30 out of 30 marks.
Sir,
And if it is, yeah. Yes.
I have
tell me.
a question on this point.
Yes. Tell me.
So if now let us say at our institute, we have one department which is computer science engineering
Okay.
and one department is electronics and communication engineering.
Okay.
They have their faculty members, they have their students. Now we have one program which is communication and computer engineering, CCE.
Okay.
So some of the courses of CC are taught by CSE, some of them are taught by EC. So when
Okay.
we are calculating the faculty profile for EC, so when we have to include CC also?
Yeah, see, this again, computer science, this is a hybrid program you are telling.
Right,
I don't
this
know.
is a hybrid program.
Yeah, I don't know whether you are telling students as a computation engineer or a circuit engineer.
So this will be like half, 50% syllabus from electronics, 50% from CSE.
So I think there will be an option for you to include this as an allied engineering program, either for electronics or a computer science. One of them you have to include. So those faculty members will be counted under that allied because this is a very unique stage.
Okay, and I'll just explain a little more. From 2024, we have dedicated 12 faculty members for this program.
Okay.
Before that, we were not having. Before that, EC and CSE used to share the load.
Okay.
So after 2024, they got their separate 12 faculty members.
Okay.
So can we show that CC is a different department and it is their own program? EC is separate, CSE is separate, CC is separate.
Yeah, now you have bifurcated that as a separate department.
Yes, now we have separated.
That is the status. Now in the assessment year, suppose if you have applied for accreditation of a computer science engineering and you have shown this as a allied department of a computer science engineering,
Okay.
all the students of the computer science engineering and this CC department will be combined. All the faculty members will be combined and student faculty ratio is looked at it.
Okay.
As long as it is within 25, there is no problem.
Okay, fine, sir.
That is how it will be looked at it.
Right. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Any other questions from anybody else? Because this is a normal, confusion.
So there is one online question.
Yeah.
If a faculty member having degree in electronics communication but taking the load of computer science and he is also appointed in computer science, will that be counted as CS faculty?
Yes.
Okay.
Because now multidisciplinary, etc. If a faculty member is with a due process followed and selected by the expert, which is suitable for a particular program, NBA is not going to question that because that is now already happening. So, let us say in a mechanical engineering, somebody has started a electronics, electrical vehicles.
Okay.
Automobile engineering is the best example. Earlier, people used to have only mechanical engineers. Now, with focus on electrical vehicles. The departments are also appointing electronics and electrical engineer for the department, because there are 30, 40, 50% courses now related to that.
Okay, sir.
Though he's electrical engineer, but working in automobile engineering is acceptable.
And a colleague with physics degrees, but teaching electronics courses, optical fiber and all, can be counted for electronics department?
No.
No. Okay.
Unless they have a basic, that AICTE regulation will come.
Okay, fine, sir.
AICTE, they have to have an engineering degree. They will be counted in basic
They should
science.
have one engineering degree.
Yes, otherwise they will be counted in basic science first year,
Okay,
but they can float any course. One course they
Yes.
can teach, no problem.
Right, sir. Thank you.
But you cannot make a basic science with BSc, MSc and call it as an engineer. Call it as an engineer, because there is a fundamental question of qualification.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, right. So faculty qualification index, this is how NBA encourages to have more and more highest degree, which is PhD. So it is 10x plus 4y. If you have more faculty members with PhD, you are likely to get full 25, and correspondingly, if you don't have, you are likely to get less. Cadre proportion is as per AICTE, 1 professor, 2 associate professor, and 6 lectures, 1 to 6. Depending upon the number, you divide it by 20 and you get this number, and then appropriately you have to distribute it. Some examples have been given like that in self-assessment report itself. Please make a note that professor has been given a weightage of 1, and associate professor is only 60%, which is 0.6, and then assistant professor is only 0.4. So some institution will like to keep only 1 professor, and the majority of them on only associate professor, they are likely to lose out marks here. That's all. Otherwise, there is, as long as 1 professor or 1 associate professor is available, probably they get 3 years. So all that is explained very clearly. There should not be any issues. Continuing, 5.4 is a visiting or adjunct faculty. Please don't confuse your contract faculty. These are only requested to take about 50 hours per year interaction in a very specialized program. Let us say you want to invite somebody, an expert, to teach only sustainable development course, or an electric vehicle course, or any other highly quantum computing course, for example. So 50 hours if he has spent in 1 year, he will be counted as adjunct professor, and he will get 3 years for 3 marks for that. 3 years, 3 marks, almost you have got about 10 marks. And provision of that through process will get that. Then the retention, faculty retention, how many of them are retained becomes important. Now, generally people used to add many people 1 year before. And now if you have, they got less than 1 year, they don't get any marks nowadays. So if you are retained for more than 3-4 years, you get a mark. So an example is given very clearly how you have to calculate and put those marks. And faculty retention calculation is shown here, which is a straightforward, I think. So people can go through and then try to get this as a development, which is a criteria 6. One criteria has been now carved out into 2, because NBA thought teachers' work has to be accounted, and many works which they do goes unnoticed, and hence it has been done in a small encouragement. Development about 60, research other work is about 60, 120 marks. So any member, if you become a professional society, national level teachers, you will get marks. You have to write those in a systematic. More and more tables have been given for your benefit now to fill up this without any. So all faculty who go for your resource person as an STP or participate in 6.1.2, all that will be counted, and then how it will be counted is written very clearly. If it is greater than 5 days, it is 5 points. If it is only 2 to 5 days, it is 3. For example, this particular program, whoever is attended, it is more than 5 days, I think, you will get 5 marks, for example. Okay. Then faculty contribution in SWAYAM and MOOCs. Now it's only 5 marks. Many people were arguing, no, only institution of importance will get this, etc. But there are other examples who will give. But if you are one of them, you are likely to get these marks. Otherwise, you can also get a certification of MOOCs program through SWAYAM. So encourage teachers to keep in continuous improvement. Faculty development or SCTP is organized by the department, like the one you are doing now, approved by AICTE or ISTE or any other or through industry partnership, depending upon some recognition is welcome. And that will also fetch you some kind of an credits. One of the, while we were going in our awareness program, one of the teacher was asking, sir, we spend a lot of time in preparing students in some of those innovative projects. Yes?
Sorry to interrupt you, sir. I have a point in 6.1.5. What kind of other events we can consider other than FDP and STTP?
See, provide details of number of faculty development program and short-term programs organized by the department individually or in collaboration with other department. What other events you do for a faculty development? This criteria, sub-criteria is for the faculty development.
Yes, sir.
So if you are involved, because that is something which is important for a continuous improvement of a teacher.
Okay.
So if you have any other thing which you do, which we don't know, if you can suggest, that will also be included. Like what is there in your mind, sir?
So duration should be minimum duration will be 5 days for that.
Yeah, something like that. Generally, if FDPs are 5 days, no, 1 week?
Yes,
or
sir.
2 weeks? 2 weeks, yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, sure. And then suppose if you are mentoring your or facilitating some student innovation projects other than your regular projects, okay, like Kodiathons, Ideathons, open research, somebody you work in a group, some teachers we have seen work in a group for a couple of years, basically. Very innovative ways of doing it. If that kind of things are there for faculty, that has also been captured for about 10 marks. And internship, training, collaboration, now it has become very important. This is, please note, not for student, it is for us, for faculty. Now you have to plan your vacation carefully. Not only Goa, Arunachal Pradesh, Sikkim. Now you have to look at, good industries, get in touch with those people whom you always thought I would have learned something and probably it would have helped my teaching in a better way. So start looking at it. When you do it, it not only helps your department and student, it will also help for your accreditation process. That is the idea which has been introduced. If you're not done, doesn't matter, you should start doing it now. R&D activities, which is very similar to what was kept earlier. Generally, what kind of publication you do in peer-reviewed or conference, etc. And then how many PhD students have registered in your department, how many students you have guided, that will all come accounted. And any development activity like patents, publication, working models, or any other from lab to land activities or something, patents which have been taken for some kind of a implementation to the industry, all that will be counted. Sponsored project and consultancy project for -1, -2, -3. Current academic year, -1, -2, -3 by all the faculty, any one of them or all together. If they get more than 20 lakhs, you will get full marks. Similarly, consultancy work, -1, -2, -2, all faculty put together. If they earn more than 20 lakhs in a year or collectively all the 3 years together, they will get 15 marks. So that has been little kept very reasonable, which I thought, because that is something which is an issue in India in terms of funding. We also recognize that many institutions have started spending from their own money for the development of teachers in research. And that also should not go unnoticed, because that is a good initiative NBA thought. So any money for research which is given, seed or internal research grant to its faculty, will also get you for about 5 marks. But then it has to be very clear, defined process, selection process, and the implementation part. So there has to be money trail of bringing those equipment, utilizing, and all that. That completes criteria 6 with all faculty. 7.1, I will not take much. It's all about your laboratories. You are the teachers, you know very well what laboratories you require. NBA only wants you to name that laboratory, how many students, and then what type of equipment, and how it is utilized, and what kind of technical manpower, very important. How many of them are qualified becomes very important. Qualification, that data is captured here and evaluated. Then you have to look at the laboratories which you are trying to create, improve the quality of learning in terms of teaching learning or beyond your syllabus that is required. Then ambience, maintenance of the overall equipment, how you have maintained, whether it is calibrated, how frequently you get your certifications. Safety is very important. That is something which is missing in our laboratories where we go on different places as a evaluators or a chairman. You have to take it seriously. The Western countries look at it very, very seriously. Please encourage your managements to invest on that safety. And then if you have created any universal research or a project laboratory or a center of excellence, wherein an UG, PG or a PhD and beyond PhD, PDF student can also work. Now that will be an added advantage for your program. And then action taken based on your results, which is COPO evaluation in criteria 3, whatever you have done. Based on that, what improvement you would like to do, you have to write it looking at current academic -1, -2. So that is actions based on the results of COPO, action based on results of POs, COs and POs. Then any academic audit. Generally, people do internal audit from one department goes to another department, etc. That is good. But if you have an external audit as a system and then people come do it once in a year, because external audit is something which if your institution open up for somebody else, that is a good thing. That is, very, very really, you are brave of it basically to show your
Sir,
system. Yes.
the audit before the assessment period, can that be counted or it should be within the assessment period?
See, all evaluation of NBA is concerned with assessment periods only. Current
Okay, so
academic
it
year,
should be within the
-1,
assessment period only.
yeah, current academic -1, -2, -3, -4, even if you are done, but if you are not done in the assessment period,
Okay.
it does not give us confidence to give you accreditation.
Sir, is there any format like in which the audit should be conducted or some key points, or we can design our own?
You have to design our use because any template kills the innovation of that.
Okay.
But generally, you have to define what you would like to audit basically.
Okay.
What is that something others should come and advise you?
Fine, sir.
Let us say the type of questions which our teachers do. If it is only a substandard, but we have covered it up, nothing is coming out. If somebody comes and look, these questions are not at all standard up to any other institution if they are telling you. That's a good thing. Okay.
Okay. Right.
The examination process, if you are doing something which you have to be improved. Like that, you have to prepare your parameters on the left-hand side and then say what to do. That will ever emerge your academic audit. Okay.
Fine.
Right. Thank you. And then improvement in the quality of qualification. This is a new item we have introduced because we thought during this assessment period, though this data is already available in 6.4 or 6.5, we also said because in terms of improvement, it should give you some credits and hence it has been brought in and probably it's good for you. Okay. And then improved in academic performance of the students itself, whether that is also improving. There we are taking for per year, but this is with respect to -1, -2, -3 together, and that will also add some performance. And so criteria 9 is for the governance. This is a common for whole of your institution. Only the deans or a group of people will prepare, and it is the same set of parameters for all the programs. Not all programs will prepare, only a set of people, and then that will. So first year qualification and students faculty ratio has brought in 9.1. Now it is very clearly told how many physics and chemistry and mathematics teachers have to be there and how it is going to be computed. No fraction load, nothing. Basically, we calculate in terms of the courses here. That is something new. An example has been given for the purpose of reference. I'm sure every institution have got either a proctoring or a mentoring system. Our 20 students are given to the one faculty to monitor their progress. And how you are done and how you are evaluating is the thing which you have to give. Feedback is a good method of subjecting yourself for the improvement and what type of feedback you are teaching for teachers and then learning process improvement and academic facilities in 9.3.2. How do you analyze it? how do you improve it is the thing which the chairman of the committee will be looking at it. What improvements have been done. In addition, training and placement support and any initiative for startup and entrepreneurship activities, it will all be looked very carefully. Then the governance transparency. Now, many of the institutions are family based and all that, doesn't matter. But what kind of strategic plan they have, how do they monitor, what kind of governing body they have, and how many meetings are conducted, or the service rules are available on web, and is it applicable to all the teachers, what kind of recruitment procedures they have, and what kind of promotion policies they have. All that will be looked at very carefully, and if it is available, it is better you put it up on the web so that everybody knows what kind of institution. And in fact, once you put them and give it circulate freely, that will also bring your transparency 9.6.3. So that will also give additional. Budget is something which is very important. NBA looks at as a means of conducting the process. Whatever we do, without money we can't do anything. So how much budget is there and how much expenditure you are doing, how much money is collected through various sources, how much is spent. It's just an information, but also gives you. And then please use the similar format your institution may be using in a different way of financial accounting. But when you put it, it is better to put it in this form. It becomes easy for the evaluators to look at it. There is one more item called program specific budget. How much your program, let us say computer science, how much money it is getting every year and how much it is actually allocated, how much is actually spent. It also give you some kind of a points. Then what kind of quality resource learning you have, digital library, and how you are connected with various e-resources, journals, etc. And what kind of e-governance you are doing, what kind of ERP, and what kind of sustainable practices you are doing in terms of solar panel or recycling your water and or your computing itself, computing resource, how you are improving. All that will become as one of the parts which has been included in line with the educational initiative or MHRD compliances required for the higher educational institutions. These have been taken based on the directions of the ministry, for example, what is expected of higher educational institution. So they have been encouraged in terms of 9.11 and 9.12 educational institution. This, whatever you have, you should be able to document it and write it to the extent possible. And then there has to be a faculty performance appraisal. How do you do it? System has to be there, and what kind of process you are incorporating is important. Implementation will get more marks here. And then finally, what kind of educational social responsibility, like CSR, we call it now ESR. What outreach activities and community services you are doing, either through Bharat Abhiyan or social internships or social connect activities, that will bring in. So this is how it is now. Self-assessment report is line. This will run for next 5 years minimum. In my view, improvements will come as and when we start implementing, and we will start giving feedback to the National Board for Accreditation. The key changes are listed here. Now the knowledge.
May I ask a question, sir? Sorry to interrupt.
I have only last slide. You can ask as many questions as possible.
Okay.
So the alignment of knowledge profiles is one thing which is introduced here, which you should make a note. Now, when you teach a course, you should start looking at complex engineering problem or activities as per the definition of International Engineering Alliance. Sustainability issues wherever possible in your courses, if you can bring in while solving complex engineering problem, that would be very nice. Then you have to start looking at rubrics for measurement of lab, project, seminar, and so on and so forth. Please look at problem-based learning as one of the areas, or any other alternative assessment methods which you think are good for you to include. Concept of allied department and cluster has brought in for computation of SFR. This could create some confusion, but over a period of time, it will settle down once faculty understand this. And faculty contribution is a new area. You should be able to contribute for your program. which will helpful for accreditation. There is no separate first year criteria which was there earlier, but now we have knocked off. Please remember there are only 11 program outcomes, not 12, okay, in India. And there are only 9 criteria. 1 criteria has been reduced. So this is the salient points of the self-assessment report. And from my side, that's all I have present. Now you can ask any questions. Thank you
Yes,
very
sir.
much.
So this is related to the qualifications for faculty. As per AICTE, it is mentioned that for assistant professor, BE, BTech or ME, MTech is essential. Now my question is, if somebody has a PhD, does that supersede these qualifications, or in addition to having PhD, the bachelor's has to be in BTech, MTech?
Bachelor has to be in BTech, MTech. That's what AICTE says.
So for MBA also, this is a compulsory.
Yes, yes. Whatever NBA says, as far as statutory requirements or regulatory requirements are required, we follow AICTE. For architecture, we follow Council of Architecture, like that. Quality assurance parameters can be different. So I cannot leave AICTE and start redefining what faculty members, anybody can come and all that. Not
Okay.
possible in India because
Someone is having BSc, MSc, then MTech, then PhD.
BSc, MSc, and then PhD. Yeah, he cannot be called as engineer.
Okay.
But he can teach the courses. No problem.
Okay. But
For
someone
example,
like BCA, MCA, then PhD.
There is nothing new in civil engineering. There is always a BSc, MSc, PhD geology teacher.
Okay.
Geology. He was always there as part of the civil department.
Okay.
Okay. For your promotion, for your teaching, for your thing, nothing changes for you.
Okay.
Why you want to be called as engineer? He will be there in the department if that course is there. Certain courses which are exclusive, part of the curriculum, if he had to be taught, he will be recruited. Okay?
And sir, like BCA, MCA, then PhD.
Yes. If AICTE permits, then he will be included.
Okay.
And sir, if MTech is there but BTech is not there, is that okay?
What else will be there? BTech and directly PhD?
No. BSc, MSc, then MTech, then PhD.
Then BTech is not there, no?
Right. BTech is not there.
So somebody asked a question, BTech is there and directly PhD. That is fine. BTech, so very many BTech are directly joining PhD, and if they can get it in that discipline, is fine.
Okay. Fine, sir. So I think these are the doubts from our side.
Okay.
And online questions are also, there is only one. Shall we need proof for all chapter 8, all in the section 8?
I didn't understand. What is that?
So I think they are asking for evidences in related to section 8, the criteria 8.
Criteria, yeah, it has to be required, no?
Okay. So that is all from our side also, sir. I would request Dr. Kusim. So thank you very much for finding these 2 hours from your busy schedule, sir. And okay. And sir, we would like to have one online screen capture. If you can stop sharing the slides, we will ask others also to switch on the cameras. And very soon we'll plan to have you on our campus.
Sure. Close. How do I stop? How do I stop sharing?
Yes, sir. Okay, sir. Right. Right, sir. Right. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Screenshot is done?
Yes, sir. Right.
All right. You can also send one for me.
Yes. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Good day, sir.